Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are looking at a very important story coming out of Israel, one that is shaking the very core of its defense establishment. The ongoing conflict with Gaza has always been a central challenge for Israel, but now the debate over how to handle it is creating visible cracks within the country's military leadership. What used to appear as a unified front of strength and clarity is now showing signs of tension, disagreement, and uncertainty. This internal division could have lasting effects not only on Israel's military strategy, but also on the broader regional landscape. From the outside, Israel projects the image of unmatched power. Its tanks, armored vehicles, and ground troops are positioned near the Gaza border. Surveillance drones fly constantly over the Strip, gathering intelligence. Fighter jets roar through the skies, reminding both friends and foes of the sheer military power the country holds. To any observer, Israel looks like a state prepared for every eventuality, a country that can strike fast and hard if provoked. This exterior image of readiness has long been a core part of Israel's deterrence strategy. But what the outside doesn't show is the heated debate inside the top levels of leadership about how best to use that power. Inside the command centers and government offices, senior leaders are deeply divided. On one side are those pushing for stronger, more aggressive operations aimed at decisively weakening Hamas and other militant groups in Gaza. They argue that without crushing blows, Israel will continue to face rocket attacks and security threats. On the other side, many experienced commanders are urging caution. They warn that massive military operations may provide short-term relief, but in the long run, fuel cycles of retaliation, international criticism, and more instability. This clash of perspectives has turned into a visible fault line within the Israeli defense establishment. The tension is not just military but political, as government officials and generals sometimes speak with different voices on the same issue. Israel's performance on the battlefield is rarely in doubt. The Israeli Air Force dominates the skies, able to strike targets with precision anywhere inside Gaza within minutes. Its intelligence networks are advanced, capable of monitoring movements and communications with extreme accuracy. The ground forces are well-trained and heavily equipped, able to move quickly in both defensive and offensive roles. But performance in Gaza cannot be measured only in terms of military capacity. It is also about the political results, the international response, and the impact on civilians. Every strike carries consequences that go far beyond the battlefield. And this is precisely where the divide in leadership is most visible. To prevent things from spiraling out of control, Israel continues to rely on a number of safety measures. Chief among them is the Iron Dome missile defense system, which intercepts rockets and protects civilian populations from incoming fire. There are also hotlines and indirect communication channels with Gaza through regional mediators like Egypt and Qatar, designed to manage ceasefires or reduce escalation. These mechanisms act like brakes on a car speeding downhill, not solving the problem entirely, but slowing it enough to avoid immediate disaster. Despite the tension within leadership, these safety features remain critical to preventing a total collapse into uncontrolled conflict. What makes the current situation unique is the dilemma of power. Israel has the capability to launch overwhelming strikes, but its leadership is questioning whether strength alone can bring long-term security. The debate itself shows that Israel's challenge is not only with Hamas, but also within its own decision-making system. Should it rely on military dominance to silence threats, or should it pursue more careful strategies that involve diplomacy and controlled restraint? The split reveals an establishment trying to balance the urge to deter enemies with the need to avoid endless cycles of destruction. The price of this division is high. Militarily, indecision or disagreement can undermine deterrence, giving adversaries the impression of weakness. Politically, the visible rift between generals and government leaders creates confusion both at home and abroad. Socially, citizens, living under constant fear of rockets, want clear answers and decisive strategies, but instead they see leadership struggling to align. And for civilians in Gaza, the price is far more devastating. Instability, destruction, and the uncertainty of living under the shadow of both militant rule and Israeli airstrikes. In the end, the split in Israel's military leadership over Gaza is about far more than tactics. It is a deeper question of vision. Some believe overwhelming force will finally deliver quiet, while others believe restraint and calculated responses will avoid endless wars. Israel shows strength to the outside world, but inside its halls of power there is division, and the performance of its forces is being judged not only by precision strikes but also by political outcomes. Safety measures exist, but they are fragile, and the unique challenge of power without a clear direction makes this moment a turning point. The price of miscalculation is heavy, and the conclusion is clear. The choices made now will not only shape Israel's security but also the future of Gaza and the wider region.